Hello, guys. The sun is about to set, and I'm looking for someone whom I may ask a few questions. Let me see, okay? All right, hang on, please. Just a minute. Oh, yeah.
Hi
I've,
guys.
I've got a South Indian chap whom I'm going to ask a few questions, okay? Yeah, of course, related to English. Well, I know that you have learned how to speak English in spite of being the student of an Indian language medium school. So, my first question to you: what should a learner do at the initial stage in order to be a fluent speaker?
At the very beginning, the person needs to be very much interested in this foreign language. That's the first criteria. And after that, the person needs to move towards the five pillars of this foreign language called English. And the second most important,
What are the five pillars which you have referred to just?
pronunciation, fluency, accuracy, vocabulary, and last but not least, the overall presentation.
Well, what do you mean by pronunciation?
The pronunciation is exactly the way an American guy speaks, exactly the way a British guy speaks. And if there is anyone, a person who wants to speak either of the pronunciation, the lexicon pattern or the lexicon procedure he follows, which is all over the world internationally accepted, that's called exactly the pronunciation.
So we know very well the American people have their own accent, and in America itself, there are a number of accents. If you move from one state to another state, you will see their accent changes. In England, also there is a certain accent. But you are saying that pronunciation and accent are the same?
Pronunciation and the accent nearby equal, but there is a gulf between these two, pronunciation and the accent.
So, what accent do you generally prescribe for
I
the new learners?
actually it is the situation is someone like that trying to taste a dish, an eater, the way the eater wants to taste the dish. So it depends upon the exactly person to person, speaker to speaker. As personally, I prefer the American accent or the American style very much.
Well, if someone says that they don't want to follow any accent at all,
Then
so
they
what should they do?
then they can follow the lexicon procedure or the lexicon process the way it has mentioned beside the word into the brackets.
Oh, you mean the international standard
Phonetics.
pronunciation?
Yes, the phonetics,
Okay, okay. So apart from pronunciation, what else is there?
the fluency.
Okay. In India, often I have seen that people mistake fluency for speed. What do
No,
you mean by fluency?
over here, I need to tell the a person need to be very much patientful. A person should,
Patient. You mean patient?
yes, but the person should not think that it's the last straw. A person, whenever speaking at that particular point in time, the person needs to pull together himself. Otherwise, it's impossible for him or her, and as well as the person needs to think that while he is speaking or while she is speaking at that particular point in time, the person is following the procedure of the dead as about his or her speech or not. So if
Okay.
it is that, the person can follow. And another one thing I would like to mean that there are many Indians, those who thinks that whenever we are going to speak speedily we can speak. That means the fluency. No, fluency means that how smoothly you can roll the words through your tongue in the name of speaking. That is called exactly the means of fluency.
Well, so if a beginner wants to boost up his or her pronunciation, I'm sorry, his or her fluency, what should they do?
At the very beginning, the person need to practice. Initially, the person will stumble. Initially, the person will be mumbling. At that particular point in time, the person should not think that no, it's not my cup of tea. The person need to chase his mistakes. And once a person can catch the mistakes, so it will be for him a very enjoyable moment. So for that reason, a person needs to think that this particular foreign language is someone like a rosebud for him.
What is the third module that a person should pay attention to?
The third module is that the vocabs. How interesting a person is and how interestingly a person is using different sort of vocabs. In a same manner, the person should not use it. As for example, that whenever a person is going to tell that I'm very much greedy about the food, a person needs to think that no, greed is a very common word a person need to use at that particular point in time. I am very much rapacious about the food. I can't tolerate. In that case, a person can use it. I can't lump it whenever I see such a beautiful place to visit. So like this, there are many vocabs which a person needs to continue.
There are a lot of slang words used by the English people, by the American people when they have their daily conversation, day-to-day conversation. So, do you advise our new learners
Yes.
to learn those slang words and
Yes,
expressions?
and before going to giving the advice, I would like to tell that there is a basic difference between the slangs and the taboo. There are the many Indians, those who think the slang means the taboo in Indian version, but in English that means totally different. In English, that means the colloquial expression. Colloquial expression means while a person is going to speak with someone at that particular point in time, the colloquial way, which is not academically accepted, but in case of speaking it is accepted, so that is called the colloquial expressions. So it should be used by each and everyone, whether the beginner, whether the speaking person, that doesn't matter.
I shall request you to cite a few examples in order to consolidate your view.
Suppose for example that whenever I am going to meet a person at that particular point in time, we say hi, how are you, we handshake. So at that particular point in time we can say that okay, can I palm handle with you. Palm handle means to handshake.
To shake hands.
Yes, to shake hands. And there's another one thing that if a person comes to our home, we take that please be seated. At that particular point in time, we can use it if the person is quite closer to us, someone like a friend, so we can use it. The please take a pew. So like this, the colloquial expressions we can use it. So called the very ordinary colloquial sentences.
So if I use these words and expressions, so it is very likely that my Indian friends will fail to understand what I say.
So that particular point in time, the person needs to see that how the foreigners they are going to, and it's not possible for each and every moment and with each and every person we can communicate, but we need to see the person who has the interest. The interest matters a lot. There are many Indians, whenever they speak English, we can clearly understand they are speaking English, but that English is not the actual colloquial sentence based on the English. The English is based on the academic English, which one in our academic study level we go through.
Do you suggest that we should watch a lot of English?
Yes,
flicks?
absolutely. Just because this foreign language is not our mother tongue, so we need to follow the foreign people. We need to follow the foreign accent, whatever with the accent a person likes. So as much as possible right now the digital world has given a lot of opportunities, so we can go through whatever thing we like and we can build up ourselves.
So what is the fourth module that you are referring to?
The fourth module is, as I've already said, pronunciation, accuracy, vocabulary. Now the standard is called the overall presentation.
Okay, you have also told about accuracy.
Yes.
So what do you mean by accuracy?
Accuracy means over here the grammatically how much we are perfect, grammatically how much you are correct. So while you are going to speak whatever with the Indian language we are going to speak at the time, we do not speak the faulty Indian languages. In the same manner, we need to keep in our mind while you are trying to speak at that particular point in time, we need to accurate to the person. So
should we be very punctilious about our grammar
Yes.
when we are beginning to learn, when we are trying to learn how to speak English? Should we pay too much attention to grammar?
no, I would like to tell that for the beginners, it should not be mandatory at the very beginning, just because over here the interest matters a lot. Whenever a beginner finds that he is going to speak and the number of errors are there in the sentences or in the speech, at that time the person may lose the interest. So for the beginners it is keeping apart, but those who are stalwarts, those who are very much a mavin at speaking in English, at this particular point in time they need to follow while they are speaking with their colleagues, while they are going to speak with their buddies, so while they are going to speak with the closer one, at the time they need to follow. But for the beginners at the very beginning it's not required, but whenever they think that they are little solid in their ground, at that particular point in time they can follow those grammatical tips or those grammatical options.
So, as the fifth module, you have told overall presentation.
Yes.
Now, what you mean by overall
Now,
presentation?
overall presentation means based on the pronunciation, fluency, accuracy, and the vocabs. The number fifth option is standing overall. It is someone like the based on the four pillars, the roof. Because how well we can sell ourselves in front of a person, how well we are comfortably can communicate with the person, how well we can express our thoughts, our feelings with the person. That is called the overall presentation.
Does body language play a very important role in it?
Definitely. Most of the Indians, whenever they speak English, but ultimately they are a bit nervous. They are a bit telltale in themselves. So that should not be. Even
I
there are,
think you are talking about the beginners, because in India a lot of people are there who know English much better than the English people perhaps.
yes,
But especially those who are beginning to learn have the problem with overall presentation.
yes, exactly. Why? Just because whenever they are going to speak English at that time, they make their speech in such a manner that someone like they are going to decorate shishi decoration, someone like their bedroom. So in a same manner, a person should not decorate himself or herself like shishi decoration.
Okay, so what is your suggestion to the beginners?
I think
Overall suggestion.
overall suggestion based on these five pillars, whenever a person is going to speak at that particular point in time, the person need to very much calm down himself or herself. He first or she need to first think that what a person is realizing. The self realization matters a lot. If the self realization matters a lot, if a person can identify so slowly, a person can proceed and a person can give a go, get a go.
Thank you very much,
Thank
my
you
dear
very
friend.
much.
Well, see you in another
Yes, I'm eagerly
edition
waiting
of our
for the
video
next session.
conversation. Thank you very much. Well, so we have just had a conversation about how to begin to learn English. So those of you who are trying to learn English may follow this video and the tips therein. Thank you very much. Bye bye. See you again in the next session.